It's time to spill the tea.
Hello!
You there, and welcome to
A Spoonful of Theatre. And this is another one of our Spill the Tea episodes, where we review a local theatre production and bring you our first honest thoughts live outside the theatre. Speaking of, where are we, Sam?
We are outside the KC Arts Centre.
Absolutely.
Yes, and what did we see, TJ?
We have just seen Hedda Gabler. Yes, we have.
The classic by Henrik Ibsen. My
Absolutely.
goodness. Now, who was it by, TJ?
It was by the Winter Players, quite a new local theatre collective, which is really interesting. It's our first collective that we've gone to see on the podcast.
Yes, it is.
So we'll talk a bit more about what that means later. But yes, I think we both had an enjoyable night in the theatre, didn't we?
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
It was. I had a few ideas for this one, because of my literature sort of background. I had some few ideas of what I was going in to see. But I was very pleasantly surprised, and that's a big kudos to the Winter Players. They're not even a year old, and they've done a very good job, I would say.
Absolutely.
But there's story behind this, isn't there? There's story behind this production.
There is. So this company is quite a new company formed from graduates of LaSalle, and they have actually been supported by the SRT. They did a show last year. SRT have picked them up and scooped them up and into their arms, which is such a lovely thing.
Yes.
Which is such a lovely thing. And they want, their whole thing is about bringing old works, kind of those classic works. Sorry, not old works. Rekindle those classics to a new audience. And they decided this play a few months ago. And unfortunately, at the beginning, we do have to acknowledge the very sad passing of the original director, Shahid, who sadly passed away before he could see his vision come to life on stage, and that was beautifully acknowledged tonight at the end of the play.
It was.
And of course, not only what the cast must have gone through there after myself going through something quite similar a few years ago at MTFF.
Yeah, I remember.
It does take a lot for a cast when you lose such a pivotal member of your team.
Yes.
To kind of say, we're going to do this and we're going to continue this in his memory, it's a very hard thing to come together for anyone. So I just want to give a huge shout out to all the cast and crew, because I think you really did him proud. So well done for that.
You're absolutely right. There was a lot of humility in this show. There was a lot of humility in the cast and crew, and it absolutely shone through.
Yeah.
And they did it. They did a wonderful job.
Yeah. So on that, let's talk let's talk a bit about the show.
You mentioned them, and I love this about the Winter Players, is that they're filling a space by targeting classic works, because this play is nearly 150 years old.
Wow.
1891.
Wow.
Was the first
Almost
time.
as old as you.
Oh, now
just
will
before you were born.
Now stop it. What I love about it is that how relevant it is still today, but still quite surprising as well.
Yeah.
A lot of people that are not connoisseurs of theatre, they may look at classic works and think, oh no, I won't understand a word of that, or it'll be boring, or things like that. Well, Henrik Ibsen, Hedda Gabler, very unexpectedly witty.
Absolutely, we had a good few laughs
It was
tonight,
laugh out
didn't
loud.
we?
In fact, when I came out, there were a few young members of the audience that went, "It's so funny."
Yeah.
And I thought, yes, I agree with you there, because I was expecting it to be much darker. Now it is dark.
It definitely goes dark.
It tackles.
We won't spoil it for you, but
yeah, it tackles some really heavy themes, but I thought it was going to take itself a lot more seriously than it actually did.
I agree, and I'm gonna hold my hands up here. I actually knew nothing about the play. As the theatre person on this podcast, I feel quite ashamed. But I purposely didn't research it before I came either, because I was like, I'm just gonna experience it. I sometimes like just experiencing things for the first time in the actual theatre. And I was pleasantly surprised, because I also thought it might be a bit hoity-toity, maybe, some of these older plays, a bit hard to access. It was very easy to access, and I think that is also down to the team as well. But I don't think the play itself, the text wasn't in old world English. It wasn't anything like that. It was very, very easy to understand, very easy to follow the story, and the cast and the creative team put it together in a way that you could kind of follow along very easily.
Yes.
So I get a big kudos to that.
And it's difficult to take the words from the page onto the stage and make it come alive in a way that engages and humours the audience, because that's where the actor is really doing their work.
Yeah.
Speaking of which,
I think we both came out and full disclosure here, I've worked with this lady before, but I know how talented she is, but watching her tonight, Genevieve Tan, Jen, you are an absolute I was going to say future superstar, but you are a superstar. Like what Jen did tonight, she played the title role, and she had the stage and the audience in the palm of her hands.
Absolutely,
and
yes.
Doing sometimes just the smallest gestures, the smallest movement. There was no need for her to come in and do too much.
No.
She just held that stage.
Yes.
It was like to see. I sound patronised. To see a young actress. I don't want to sound patronising here, but like to see an actress who is, still quite early in her career, not long graduated, be able to hold the room and hold the space with such poise and presence and genuine skill. I just enjoyed every minute of her performance. And if you see the name Genevieve Tan on any show, I promise you're going to have a great time.
I absolutely agree with you. She was an absolute tour de force tonight. And what I found very, very interesting is that there was a lot of different energy, a lot of different chaos happening on the stage as it's written on the page, and other interpretations of their characters and of their roles. I completely agree with you. Genevieve brought that and kept it going to its ultimate goal. So yes, absolutely, she did a fantastic job.
Well done, Jen. Now, the rest of the cast, it wasn't just Jen on stage, was made up by some variety of recent graduates from LaSalle and further afield. And overall, putting my director hat on, which is what we love to do on this podcast, I think there were moments where some of the rest of the cast, you can see the potential, and there were some wonderful moments from various people in the supporting cast. There were also a few moments where this is a very common thing when we're first starting out. We go a bit too much. It was opening night as well, so I felt like there was a little bit too much gesturing at times, and a bit too much energy in some places, but it didn't spoil the show for me.
No.
And it's something where I think I'm so proud that we can have, see in the Singapore scene a variety of different platforms for people to grow, because at the end of the day, as actors, we only grow by doing.
Yes, of course.
And that's really important. So I just want to give a huge shout out to all the actors on stage, because I think there's so much potential there. And keep it up and just enjoy the rest of the run and play. I think play is really important.
Yes, we've said this before.
And don't let it be static. Every show is different.
Now, of course, not just the acting, the staging was very interesting. What were your thoughts on the staging?
I mean, the show is supposed to be simple. It says in the script that the set and everything is supposed to be very simple.
Yes, they highlighted this, that they followed Ibsen's very simple stage direction. A window, a sofa, and a piano.
Yes.
And I would say that Ibsen was an absolute visionary in doing that, because in doing that, it's made it accessible throughout the ages.
Yeah.
It doesn't require a big elaborate set or a period specific set. It works really well, and again has made it accessible in 2025. So I thought that was very, very well done.
Yeah, and I want to give a huge shout out to Marvin, because he stood in, obviously after the passing of his very dear friend, to come in and jump in and stand in on it as a director is a huge thing. So well done to him. I think my thing with the staging, I think if I was just gonna pass on some advice, I would say would be that sometimes some of the movements around the stage, I felt, because there was a platform, it felt a bit unintentional at times sometimes, and the platform I actually think the platform distracted us. I love levels on a stage, but I actually think the platform distracted us, because I don't think the script needed the platform to make the house work. But really well done, and I think overall some really lovely ideas and potential that were put up there, which I'm sure was a mix of all of the team.
Now, who's it for?
Who's it for? Do you know what? I'm going to answer this question by answering who is a collective. Okay, because a theatre collective, for many of our listeners, they might not have even heard the term. I'm sure you've heard of a collective, but like a theatre collective is a collective of actors or directors or theatre makers that come together to make a piece of work. It seems obvious, but we're used to in Singapore big companies that are very established, kind of being the ones that we go to see. You know, we all know the big names. They get a lot of support. Sometimes we could do with some more support, but they often get a lot of support and funding to put up those shows. A theatre collective is grassroots, getting small donations, small grants, and obviously the support of SRT. So it takes a lot for these collectives to put this show up. So who is this for? This is for anyone in Singapore that is willing to support local theatre.
Yes.
And especially if you consider yourself someone that would like to see the Singapore theatre scene grow, you need to be supporting collectives and you need to be supporting new works and new artists and emerging artists.
Yes, definitely.
And these guys in this collective absolutely deserve your support because we had a great time.
As I said before, the themes are quite accessible. So I would say to anybody, if you're looking for Karen the play, then this is definitely the play for you, because Hedda Gabler is Karen.
Yes.
And again, credit to Genevieve. She just encapsulated on that on the stage so well. Now they're doing a very short run, aren't they?
They are. It's only playing until this Sunday.
Yes.
Okay. So please, that is Sunday. We're on the 17th now, 18th, 19th. It's only playing until the 19th of January.
Yeah.
So please go get your tickets. Tickets are over on Book My Show, and also do go over to Instagram and search Winter Players and support them on their Instagram as well.
Right, my tea's gone cold, love. So shall we leave it there?
I think we should leave it there.
So that's cheerio from us, but we'll be back soon.
And to all those performing in Singapore theatre scene,
Break a leg.